A new study from Barna is showing that Christians are wanting to realign the church to align more with what Jesus intended, more of what Jesus's priorities are. In this video, we're going to break down some of the stats that this brief article shares and a couple of the implications and advantages that you can leverage to help your church reputation grow. So more people, when they feel the call of the Spirit, when more people enter a new season or have kids, they can know that your church is one that will serve them appropriately, glorifying God and making disciples. If we haven't met before, my name is Justin Nava. I'm here to help you be known in your community through online, being found online, which isn't really advertising. It's just having a presence that's found, as well as advertising and branding. You know, who are you and who needs to know about you and what should they do with you? That's all of what we do at Nava Church Marketing. You can go to Nava Church Marketing. But if you want to be better known, a great place to start is just by subscribing to the channel. I'm putting out multiple videos a week, helping your church be known and reach more people, all for the purpose of making disciples. So we got this article here. Christians want to help the church realign to be more, well, I shouldn't put words in the mouth, realign to be what Jesus intended. And there are some things in here, and I think it's a reason why I believe I'm called out to follow God in helping this church or churches in America, regain that reputation, regain the cornerstone status that if I need something, if I feel something, if I desire something, I should go to the church. I should keep my mind on things in the church. And the churches should be out there capturing attention and pointing that to Christ. So, first of all, let's set the stage here and get some context. The church's reputation in areas like pursuing justice, and stepping to solve local problems is wavering among teens and adults, right? So pursuing justice, that's a little bit of I think it can be misinterpreted because people will think there's God's justice and there's man's justice. And I think some people feel like the church is not pursuing justice when really they're not pursuing man's justice. So I'm going to put that aside, but I do think that a lot of people think churches are insidery. They're very introverted. They're not in the community. And hey, I know several churches that are like that. I drive past them. I see a building. I see people there on Sundays, but I never see that church out in the community. Meaning I never see signs that say, hey, come on in. I never see ads that say, come on in. I never see social media posts getting shared that say, we'd love to have you. And that's a difficult thing to balance, being a welcoming church, but also guiding people towards Christ for redemption. So it is a tough thing to balance, but that doesn't mean that you can't have a presence out there, right? So I think that is something that the church can step up and have more of a local presence because it's just multiple points of contact. So when the Spirit moves in someone or when someone wants to check out a church, they already know about you. Or when they go to Google, you've been doing some work there online and Google knows about you and can recommend you. So if you have a website, that's great, but if no one can find it, that's a problem. That's one of the things that we set out to do. Christians view Christianity as a faith they respect a lot. I think that's a low number. 48% view Christianity as a faith they respect a lot, whereas 15% of people without the faith say the same. Kind of a similar story I share. You can walk up to a vegetarian or vegan and ask them what's the best steakhouse in town. They'll be able to tell you. They won't go there. They may protest there. But when you ask them, hey, what do people think is the best steakhouse in town? It's that one. And this, it should be the same thing in your community, in your neighborhood. People should know that your church is there and they should respect what you're doing, even if they disagree because they're just in depravity right now. Getting into what we have in the article here, when it comes to turning that around, when it comes to addressing that reputation, a good thing is most Christians are willing to help the church realign to Christ's priorities. Now, I do think, putting on a ministerial hat here, I do think that if we equip our congregation, they'll realize that some of the things they think are Christ's priorities are actually a misinterpretation of Scripture. And they may, once they dive in or once you share some vision of the church, they may say, well, I don't want that. I actually wanted this. So I think there is some humanity in these stats, but many Christians, 57% of Christians, as well as 7 in 10 practicing Christians, want to help the church refocus on what's truly important. And I think what this requires is two things. Number one, more intentional discipleship in service areas. So I think a lot of churches, and this is just me being an outsider, I think a lot of churches view discipleship as a program, as a class, as a mentorship, where discipleship can happen while you're serving, while you're plugging in. It's not an either or thing. You don't get discipled over here and serve here. It's all one big mesh. And so I think bringing service into that will help these Christians that want to see the church realign, help them get involved and get in their hands dirty in moving the church in the direction that it needs to go, both in the church and outside the church. But not only that, they are ready to help, make it easier to invite friends and family. One of the most difficult things that I recognize is that it's tough this day and age to invite friends and family to church, unless you can really develop a good rapport with someone through work or friends or family, or something happens. It's tough to get someone to come to church these days. So to have a congregation, even if just half of them want to help the church realign to what Jesus intended it to be, again, on the ministerial side, you're like, that's easier said than done. But even if only 10% of those are willing to put in the work, or even 20%, 80-20 rule, right? You will see significant impact. And if you can make it easier and show ways that we can share what God's doing. For example, one of the things we do and help with in our agency is helping churches accumulate positive online reviews about the church, but also what God is doing in the church. So we don't want reviews that just say, funny pastor, friendly people, beautiful building. We want reviews that say, I was lost and then God found me and now I'm transformed through the faith community at this church. It's a beautiful place to be a part of. They helped my family. They helped us through hard times. They saved my marriage. Things like that show God is working in this place. So that's one of the things that we do that helps that reputation, and that shows up on Google. You don't have to have a social media following. You don't have to have a website. It's right there in Google when people are searching. And I think on the back end, Google is smart enough to match testimonials with someone's struggles. Google knows if you're an alcoholic. Google knows if you're addicted to porn. Google knows if you're I'm going to say a bad father, right? It knows your search habit. It knows your patterns. It knows your locations. It knows everything about you. And so when you search for solutions, it will try to match the best one for you. All right. So I think if you can get stories like that out there, because every time not every time, but many times when I load the same Google profile, different reviews show up. So I think it's doing some matching on the background. Anyways, so Christians and non-Christians alike think the church has room for improvement and bridges that need to be built to be strengthened. So, I think a lot of folks are ready to make a movement towards what Christ is really desiring for his church, and I think this is a great time if you are looking to say, we need a better online presence for when people find us. We need to be more welcoming online. We need to be more resourceful and resourcing our church online. I think this is a great time, and this is a stat that supports that. However, if you are wondering, what can we do to build our reputation? Again, the first thing is let's look inside first, because even among practicing Christians, not everyone thinks that, oh yeah, we are totally ready to shift. Some people think an introverted church is exactly where you should be. You should be a coffin for the saints. So that's a tough thing that you're going to have to address as a pastor. But I think there is a lot of hope. I think there is a lot of good things here. And I see it in the church world, right? Even as a guy that runs a marketing agency for churches, where most churches hate marketing, we see pastors coming to us every week saying, I know something needs to change. I know people, that's where capturing attention is. How can we leverage this for Christ? And that's exactly what we're doing here at Nava Church Marketing. So if you like this, leave a comment down below. Do you think that the church is ready for a reputation shift? Do you want to see something happen? Have you done anything in your own church that is causing a shift, building a bridge to your community? One of our clients had the street named after the church a few years ago. So, there are things happening. Another client of ours paid off $1 million of medical debt for their town. And, that garnered a lot of conversations where the gospel could be shared. So there is a lot of ways to go about it. Marketing is just one way to do it. But I want to know what you think about this. Do you think that the church needs to shift its reputation in 2025? Leave a comment down below. Like and subscribe this video so you get more videos like this. God bless you all, and I'll see you all in the next video.